Hi, good morning. How is everyone on this Thursday morning? How are you doing on today? Did you know that God could make you better than new? How do you find hope when you run out of possibilities? How do you find hope? When you know that you've tried everything and all that you have done and tried and it's still not working. When you've done everything that you can and it's still not working. And you might even be staring failure in the face. You might be dealing with your business not doing well or going under, maybe even a relationship or marriage that's unraveling and you just don't know how to get it back under control. Or maybe you just have hit a dead end and you become stuck. And a lot of times people become stuck and they just don't know how to become unstuck. Or maybe you're going through some painful situations and you are making it worse. And you just don't know what else to do. And maybe you've gotten tangled up in your own mistakes or tangled up in somebody else's mistakes or somebody else's mess. And you find yourself dealing with somebody else's mess that have put it on you. And you know that you're not guilty of somebody else's mess, but now you're tangled up in an entanglement that you don't even deserve or need to be in, or never knew you would find yourself up in an entanglement that has nothing to do with you. How do you find hope when you run out of possibilities? How do you find that hope? But you know what? If your life looks like any of what I've just said, any of what I've just shared with you, anything, and you're willing to admit it, then you're in the best possible place for finding hope, the hope that God has for you. You're in the best possible place. The best possible place. The hope that God has for you. See, God has a lot of hope for us. A lot of hope. And a lot of times, if we just don't give it to Him, how can He repair the damage? See, a lot of times, we're damaged. We cause damage. Or damage comes to us in some type of shape, form, or way. And if we don't admit that we are damaged in some kind of way, that something has happened, and we don't admit it, we don't allow God to help us, to repair us, then we stay damaged. And sometimes that damage gets worse. And as you don't repair one situation, another one comes and it can compound the original damage. And now you got so much damage that you don't know what to do. But see, God tends to do His best work when we humans have ran out of options. We've ran out of things that we can do to fix it. We've ran out of options. That's when God does His best work. That's when God does His best work. And if we would stop meddling in what God is trying to do, stop meddling, then God can step in and help us. But I'm inclined to tell you that a lot of times we meddle in the very own situations that we're asking God to solve. We're meddling in the very own situations that we have asked God to help us with, but we just will not stop meddling. If I need repairing, my spirit, my physical being, my mental, if I need repairing and I go to God and I ask Him to help me, but I keep participating in things that keep getting me caught up, I'm meddling. And we got to learn to stop meddling in the things that we have asked God to fix. We have got to stop meddling in the problems that we have said that we gave to God. I'm going to give this to God. I turn it over to Jesus. God fix it. And then we still take it back or we'll dibble and dabble in it. And then we'll listen to other folks tell us all this stuff on how we can fix it, but we've already asked God, but then we take it back from God. That's just like taking it back from God. And we start listening to other folks that's telling us how to fix it. But don't you know God can fix anything that he wants to fix? He is the way maker, the fixer-upper. He can fix anything. No problem or repair job is too hard for God. No repair job is too hard for God. And we often make matters worse. And if we're not a plumber and we don't know anything about plumbing, then why would you try to repair a plumbing job that you know you're not qualified to repair? You know you're not qualified to do a plumbing job, but you will try to do it and make matters worse. And when you get rid of your pride and you get rid of, and you admit, you know what, I made it worse, and admit that you made it worse. Don't worry about what nobody else thinks. We all have made some matters worse that we didn't have to make worse, but we did because we were trying to fix it on our own. But we realized that we can't fix the damage that we've done, so we got to turn the damage over to Christ Jesus, give it to him, and he can repair the damage. But a lot of times we're not willing to allow God to repair the damage because our ego and our pride get in the way. But if we can just give it to God and say, you know what, God, I need a plumber. I need a repairman. And you the best repairman that I need. And if we just only allow God to enter in, to take over the damaged goods that we've caused within ourselves or in somebody else's life, only then will God step in to really get things fixed. Because God can really get things fixed. See, that's good news, knowing that God can get things fixed if we just give it to him. See, there's hope in Jesus Christ. And I say this all the time. There is hope in Jesus Christ. Jesus is the way maker. He's the fixer. He's a fixer-upper, and he can make you brand new. That's the thing. But how can he make you brand new if you're not willing to allow him to make the repairs? You got to allow Jesus to make the repairs in your life. And so I'm trying to make this point that when we mix things up, and we got this mentality that I'm going to do it myself, and we don't allow Jesus to do it, and we don't call in an expert. Do you know Jesus is the expert of fixing up things? He's the repairman. Jesus is the expert in repairing things that we have damaged. He's the expert in repairing us back to brand new. If we would just allow him to. If we would just allow him to and admit we've messed things up and just get out of God's way and stop meddling. Because when we ask God to do something, we expect him to do it, right? We expect God to give us a different outcome than the one we're already dealing with, right? We expect God to turn it around for us, right? And to do it for us and to fix it and to deliver us. Then why do we keep meddling? Why do we keep taking things back that we've asked God to fix and repair? See, we got to finally agree to allow God to do it his way. Not our way, not our friend's way, not our spouse's way, not our loved one's way, but God's way. And when we allow God to do it his way, that's when things get better. That's when we start to see the brand new change in us. The brand new change when we allow God to do it. Because see, sometimes all it takes is a few twists and turns. Like when you get the screwdriver, you say, you know, that leg on that chair is loose or that table, and I need to just get a screwdriver, a flathead, or, you know, the other one, and just turn it. Sometimes it only takes a few twists and turns with God. And then sometimes God have to rip it all up. Sometimes God has to rip up some pipes, some fixtures. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes he got to rip up some things within us Get us stirred up. Get us stirred up. Get us stirred up to repair us, to repair our damaged goods. Give your damaged goods to God. And see, sometimes God might have to do a complete remodeling. A complete remodeling. He might have to do a complete remodeling. But that's okay because God can do it. Only God can remodel you. He can do a complete overhaul if you let him. A complete overhaul. And you know what? When God does it, it don't necessarily have to be painless or painful. And then sometimes it is painful. You may go through it and it's going to be painful. It won't be painless. It'll be painful. And it won't be easy sometimes. And then sometimes God makes it easy. But there are times, a lot of times, when he's trying to teach us something and show us something, it's not painless. And it is not easy. And you got to have patience going through it. You got to have patience going through the repair. And see, there are some things we might have to give up. Things that we like or we think we like. That we may have to give up. To allow God to do his work and to repair you. To repair that damage. To repair that plumbing problem. You know, that problem that you could not solve. That you tried and tried and tried. And you kept getting deeper involved. But when you turned it over to Jesus, he worked it out, right? You got to turn everything over to Jesus. And stop getting deeper involved. And when you turn it over to Jesus, stop meddling. Stop meddling in what you've turned over to Jesus. Because if we don't trust God to fix it, and once we give it to him and we take it back because we don't trust God, we'll never get things back the way they're supposed to be or the way they were. We got to trust the expert. Because that's a life that works with the expert. A life full of love. A life full of hope. A life full of newness. Not just a good life, but a life better than the one that we've had. God bless you all on today.